So we start off with a bit of cobalt blue and rose and put in the sky. It's a very pale wash and it'll look much paler when it's dry as well. I take the same mix further down where the water is. The water needs to be painted much lighter in tone so that the reflections and the shadows would look prominent when they are put in. I just moved the edges where the tree meets the sky. So the next step is to paint the trees in the background. For that I use ultramarine blue. Whilst the blue is still wet, I'm going to drop in a bit of green. It's Viridian mixed with a bit of burnt sienna. So this will create an illusion of faraway trees. And because it's cooler in hue, it will not compete with the other trees that we will put in later. Mix a bit of purple to put in a few shadows where the trees are. Just a few lines to indicate a few shadows over there. Put in a few shadows on the other side of the painting as well. And the shadows cast by the trees can be seen in the water as well. So I'll be using the same hue for that as well. The interesting thing about this painting is that you could see the shadows from the trees as well as the reflections at the same time. But the reflections are much darker in tone. Next, I mix a bit of Viridian and burnt sienna and put in the trees that are closer to us. As you can see, these trees are much warmer and tonally darker compared to the trees that we put in earlier. Add a bit of purple for the darker areas of the tree. Next I mix a bit more purple and start painting in the shadow areas of the paddle steamer. Now I mix a big puddle of green for the reflections on the water. I start off with the reflections under the paddle steamer. So now we come to an area where there are shadows as well as the reflections on the water. That's where the strength of watercolor comes in. By laying a translucent wash of green over the shadows that I painted earlier, we could see that we can still read the shadows as well as the reflections on the water. I use a knife and my fingernails to create a few white areas in the painting. I mix a bit of burnt umber and ultramarine blue to come up with a dark mix. So there are a few dark areas in this painting. So now is the time to put them in. See, the darks that we have put in connects the painting much better. Now the paddle steam is connected with the rest of the landscape in a much better manner. So we have reached almost the end of the painting, and I just add a few lines to add better connectivity to the shapes. And that's it. Now I remove the tape off to get a clean edge. Yep, I like it. It reads quite well.